Because the news is saturated with the DNC, I thought I'd do something different. And because I'm a bit of a nerd. Let's play with the 48 Laws of Power again. People love this stuff, really. In 2016, Donald Trump started his presidency like this.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
And every time he looked at a previous president's foreign policy or whatever, and he thought that it didn't benefit America, he withdrew from it and withdrew America essentially from the world stage. He did it with the Paris Climate Accord.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
He withdrew the United States from the Iran nuclear deal.
The Iran deal is defective at its core. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
There were even rumors and reports that he would take America out of NATO, and he also threatened that if the NATO leaders didn't pay up, which they were already doing before he took office, that he would encourage people like Russia to attack NATO countries.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
Yeah. He actually said that they have to pay their bills. Let that sink in. But what does all of this have to do with the 48 Laws of Power? Well, then President Trump was violating Law 18 of the 48 Laws of Power. Law number 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. To all my Bible readers out there, what happened to the walls of Jericho? Now let's get into some American history. George Washington, being that it was a young country, did not want to get involved in British and French foreign affairs. So he kind of stayed out of it. And the Jay Treaty and a lot of other stuff happened, but we'll just fast forward. What happened was that bled into John Adams' administration, and he also tried to stay out of foreign affairs between the French and the British. That got him involved in a quasi-war on the Atlantic Ocean. A quasi-war is like a war, but not really a war. Yeah. And the XYZ affair, and there was a lot of other stuff. I'm moving on. Thomas Jefferson, old two-faced ass, that's why he's on the $2 bill, just said, hey, I'm cool with the French, but I'm brothers with the British, so I'm just not going to do nothing. That led to James Madison having to deal with the British and the French, and that caused the War of 1812, in which the White House was burned down. And I'm going to fast forward because America still did not learn its lesson. President Woodrow Wilson took the White House in 1913. World War I began in 1914. We were not in it until his second term. He even campaigned on it. And when he got his second term, America went to go fight in the last year and a half of the war. Fast forwarding, he tried to do the League of Nations. Some senators in the United States did not want to approve the treaty, so America had to back out. And because of that, and because the League of Nations fell apart, there was World War II, and America was attacked. I'm all for an American first policy. Every nation around the world is only doing what's in the best interest of that particular nation. But we have to understand that we cannot ignore law number 14 and isolate ourselves from the world. We have to be involved in global world affairs, because if we're not, it can happen to us again, to where we are heavily involved in those affairs. And what we cannot do is have this kind of mindset.
And it affects them much more. We have a thing called an ocean between us, right? It affects them much more.
Because history has shown us that the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean are not walls, and our enemies can still reach us if they wanted to. And if we were to ever back out of NATO or the United Nations and alienate our friends because we want to be just America first, who is going to come help us when our walls come down like Jericho? What do you think?